This is where the fun begins.
Prepare yourself for Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. The evil Empire has struck back with a vengeance, and a new villain, the crime lord Shizor, schemes to replace Darth Vader as the Emperor's second-in-command. With Han Solo held frozen in carbonite by bounty hunter Boba Fett, it's the rebellion's darkest hour. Now, join Jedi warrior Luke Skywalker, hard-charging Chewbacca, and go undercover with heroic pilot Dash Rendar and his booming Outrider. But can Han Solo be freed and Shizor be stopped? Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. Look for the authentic figures and vehicles from Kenner.
Hello, hello, and good morning, everyone, to Coffee Chat. And I don't know why I have, just when we start, my notifications start going off. I don't know how to turn them off on this computer. I haven't found the source yet. I will get that resolved. So if you hear any dings, that's what's going on. And yeah, so good morning, everybody. And what's in your cup this morning? I have lipstick on here, but this is my cup right here. Insert eye roll here. That's how I've been feeling lately. But it's not a bad thing. It's just annoyance with some kind of things going on in pop culture. But a lot of it I'm not going to mention here because my channel doesn't pertain to that. Yeah, so good morning and what's in your cup? I see everybody popping on now. Say hello. And today we're going to discuss post-Return of the Jedi lore leading up into before X-Wing series. And so we'll talk about that. And then, excuse me, wow, got choked up. And then we will get into the cringe factor. And this time it is about Dooku here. And Count Dooku, basically, Count Dooku is the only Sith apprentice who deserves to replace Palpatine. So we'll get into that a little bit more here in a little bit. Whoopsie. Let me see. My computer's a bit slow, so hopefully I'm not slowing down on your guys' end. Let me know. Yeah, so, but that's what's going on today amongst other chat here. So if you haven't had a chance to vote yet, please vote for your favorite planet here. And so far, this is the standings. Camino, 73%, probably because that's known as a movie, a movie planet. And then there's Bakura at 18%. Mon Calamari, which is at 9%. And Maigito is at 0%. So Maigito is a unusual planet as well, and we'll get into a little bit of that lore too. So stay tuned for that. And I wish these notifications weren't going off right now. Let's see. Close all this crap. Yeah. So how are you guys doing? Let me see who's in the chat today. Let's see here. Let me scroll up here. All right. So we have Iris. Good morning, Iris. Camino was cool. I love stormy weather, but if it was nonstop, I think I would be depressed. Need sunny days. I agree. And this stuff needs to stop. Let's see here. And I drink, therefore I am. Good morning to you. Good morning, OG and crew. That's my what's in my cup. Colombian blend, accentuated by vanilla and cinnamon schnapps. Whoa. So you're just spicing it up, huh? Favorite planet. Now Hada. Why? Because of my TTRGP. Yeah, okay. Started on now Narshada. Okay. That's fair. This needs to stop already. We have like dinging going on, and it's like all my notifications want to load up as we began, not before we began. And it is friggin' annoying. It is super, super annoying. So you're seeing me over here getting mad. I wish I didn't link my phone to my computer. I have to figure that out. Good morning to you. And Caffeinated Wolf, Dathomir should been an option. I need a harem of night sisters, laugh my ass off. You know what? I thought about Dathomir. I thought about, because we're talking about Bakura and we're also talking about Shadows of Mindor, because those are the two lore books that are right in that era after post Return of the Jedi. I thought about putting Mindor on there as well. I wanted to do at least one popular one, and I wanted to kind of do them kind of random. They all have something in common. Water, mostly water planets, but Bakura is not really. It still has an environment like the Earth does. So I kind of try to just throw in randoms for educational purposes as well. So it's hard not to do all the popular planets that people are familiar with. So if you're not familiar with Megiddo, please look it up. We will discuss it here pretty soon. Please look up Megiddo. I believe if you read Darth Plagueis, you would hear more about Megiddo as well. And so it's very, very interesting indeed. Very interesting. And let's see here. So Megiddo, and I have the Atlas Planet here, or book here. I really, really love this. Excuse me. I've been having some bad allergies lately. That's been screwing up my voice and stuff. We do have wildfires again nearby. Like I have some adopted family, my adopted daughter who lives like an hour and a half from us up in the mountains there, and her home area has wildfire going on right now here, and it comes down into the valley. It screws up the sinuses, makes them runny, however, so not fun. I think I'm gonna go get an allergy shot. I really don't want to, but I think I am. So yeah, so we'll get into that stuff here pretty soon. Let me see who else is in the chat. And I did highlight, can only stop by for a little bit, but always pleasure, Alora. Thank you so much for coming in anyways. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Recommend the channel. I know it's been a bit slow lately. A lot of good stuff has been going on in my life, which kind of affects the channel here, but my Talking EU is back in progress now, I guess you could say. I do have 2 interviews this month and 2 interviews next month. And so check my community page for the schedule. But I have EU Commander. So if you follow me on Twitter, EU Commander is one of the very into the EU and stuff. So I'm bringing him in for an interview. And then I have Lance, who I'm bringing him in for an interview. So I've known him from Twitter, and then I got to meet him on Matt Wilkins' channel. So I thought that bringing in people that are, I wouldn't say not as popular or not as known, but maybe people don't know how much they're into the EU or whatever. But so I'm bringing Lance in as well. And then on October 8th, I believe, is my interview with Tad. So Mandalore. So if you haven't heard of his channel or whatever, go ahead and go check that channel out. Great channel with amazing lore videos. And he's got a beautiful theme, Mandalore. So check that out as well. I'm excited to get him on and chat EU about what he likes. We have an idea. If you know who he is, we have an idea of who his favorite character is. But in my discussion with him, he says that does change at times from him revisiting the lore and rereading the books. And I can relate to that, because people ask me who's my favorite EU character, and it changes from time to time. And so it's a very hard decision to really stick to one favorite character in the EU sometimes. Movie characters, not as hard. Luke Skywalker, maybe it'd be overall my favorite character, but if I had to pick a EU character, that varies from time to time. Let's see. Morning, everybody. Please hit the like button and send share the stream. Yes. I was kind of sad. I lost 1 subscriber to within the 24 hours. It happens, and then usually you gain some, you lose some. My channel has been progressing really slow because of the fact that I have a lot of good things going on in my life when it comes to working. Also, fitness-wise, I've been getting really back into my fitness. I should have just stayed on it during the pandemic, but I didn't. So I'm getting my butt back into gear, but my channel is still my love, and so I'm always here for you guys. Coffee chat will always happen. Yeah, lore videos will happen, but more sporadically right now. And Crimson Mist, I need to slow my brain down here. I'm like happy to be here with you guys, so my brain's all blah. Good morning, OG. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings to you. Yep, Megiddo Pegasus birth planet. Yes, and the resting place of Kai Andi Mundi. Correct. And it's also a banking planet as well. So we will get into that more in a little bit. So please go vote your favorite planet. If you read Plagueis, Darth Plagueis, you will know more about that planet. Hit do not disturb. I should do it on my phone maybe because it's connected to my phone. Let me see here. Yeah. Let's see here. Every time a bell rings, a Jedi gets their lightsaber. Well, we got a lot of Jedi going on here, huh? And let's see here. And Jackson is here. Where Kai Adi Mundi died. A favorite map from 2005 Battlefront 2 Bakura is still a better favorite for me. Cool, that's pretty cool. And there's so much you could pull about, and for educational wise too. I think next Thursday I'll go into droids. So follow me on Twitter and my YouTube page. And then I'll even post it here on YouTube community page to vote for your favorite droid. I'm gonna, of course, it only could be 4. Well, no, I take that back. I will ask what your favorite droid is. You comment below. The top 4 will be put on for the poll for next week. So kind of interactive with you guys to keep you guys in front of Star Wars, in front of the good stuff. Let's see here. Happy day to see you, OG Star Wars. Well, thank you so much. Happy Dinosaur. Happy to see you too as well. Star Wars news has kind of been slow on the front here because we have the Rings of Power and all of that going on right now. Same old, different IP, same old bullshit. The makers, the creators of it, gaslighting fans and saying that they're racist for having an opinion, even though that's not exactly what everybody is talking about. I have my opinion, and it varies from a lot of people about what's going on with that. I do agree on some things, and I do have a different. It's not I don't disagree. I'm looking at it at a different perspective. But again, this channel is not going to go into that. But overall, we're seeing the same things that happens between all the other IPs. And that's something that's very common with these creators here from Hollywood-esque kind of people. And that's making these minions of theirs come out and attack fans as well. Same bullshit, different IP. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. Oh, wait, let's see here. Hey, Alora, Truce at Bakura and Shadows of Mindor matched the movies so well. Amazing read I found through you. Thanks. Well, thank you so much. Tim is the one that posted, a relic of the day with Shadows of Mindor. And I was like, I haven't read that in a while. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. Like, to me, it's not bad. And so I sat down and read, in 2 sittings, and I read it all again. And I rather enjoyed it. There's some things I'm like, okay, what were you thinking, Stover? But basically, he really connected the lore between like Revenge of the Sith. There was like those little like callbacks between father and son kind of deal, or like Luke landing Justice. And it breaks apart like when Anakin was piloting Grievous's ship. And so there's that callback there that was very, very interesting. And how, it was stated, how was it stated? I put it on Twitter. It was landed as so, I'm like paraphrasing major time, but basically they said it was landed as so because of a Jedi, because of a Skywalker or something like that. And so there was that callback, beautiful callback, that these callbacks should be family related, I think, in Star Wars, more or less, not because, so and so did it here, so Disney did it here, so they can link it together, which had no relation whatsoever. So that's what I think about that. And then Rodimus Prime 21, hello. Hi, OG. Was Darth Maul a real Sith or just an assassin, since Plagueis was alive in the Phantom Menace? He was an apprentice. He was assassin, but they also had him. That is something very debatable, because he was also being trained as a Sith, because Palpatine had plans. He was going to succeed over his master, and he basically did. And so Darth Maul was, one of them. I think we started seeing the Rilla 2 being kind of dismantled by Sidious's time. And then then we seen later on, of course, the one Sith. So I'm curious to have seen if anything would have happened with Sidious if he would have survived and how the Sith would have evolved from him. But we didn't get that because, of course, he had to be defeated. He did come back as a clone, and that was defeated as well. So, and then once we seen like the whereabouts of like Darth Caedus and stuff like that, the Rilla 2 wasn't really as strong, I guess. But you guys can talk to me about this in the chat. What do you think about Darth Caedus when it came to the Rilla 2? Did you start seeing kind of like a branch off of the Sith there, that it wasn't really being honored as before because of the time difference? Yeah, let's see here. And here it is. Subscribe to Mandalore. Yeah, go ahead and check out his channel. He has some awesome videos on his Captain Fordo one as well when it comes to the Clone Wars and stuff. And then Keck44, howdy, how are you doing? Forlaw. Let me see here. IG88. Yeah, you're voting already. I see that. Hey, Raging Rhino, what's up? Good morning. What's in your mug? Are good early morning, or I don't know. I always with Australian time. I mean, I can get European time and stuff, but Australian time, that one always throws me off the time frame. So sorry for that. Or is it really late at night? It's morning time here, of course. And the gonk droid in the background of the sand crawler. That's okay. So if you are a channel member, and I recommend becoming a channel member. If you are, Tim and I are bringing back our live stream for our channel members, because we have a lot of similar channel members. And so that's coming up here in the near future as well. But become a channel member, and the gonk droid is one of the emojis there. So check it out, you guys. Become a channel member. Anything that you do here helps out the channel a little bit more. I do need to get me a green screen. I have a lot going on right now with beadwork. So I have my beadwork out in the background and all that. So that's what you're seeing back there. But I'd rather have a green screen that I can put behind me and maybe do some kind of Star Wars-esque background, so that you don't see my creative mess when I really get into stuff and start painting, beading, whatever. So you won't see my creative mess, I guess you can say. Yeah. So Ira says, Kay's Jewelers had a Star Wars line. I have an R2D2 bracelet and a BB bracelet, sparkly droids. Nice. Well, I'm glad that you like collecting that stuff. That's pretty cool. ID10, Astromech, and Assassin in one. Look, you guys are already voting. I'm not taking account here, but on Twitter, here on my community page and Twitter community page, I will have that question. You guys give me four of your favorites, but put them separate. Don't put them together. Yeah. So, okay, 2:19 a.m. Friday morning. Well, good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see here. And there is, I believe, are you still having casual rage tonight, right? I hope so. Okay. And this is, just had a pileup of stuff come up on me. Now sitting down with Green Mountain Classic Black with oat milk, creamer, and stevia. Awesome. Yeah. buckle down, get that caffeine and buckle down. Buckle down. Let's see here. And I think we reached the end of the chats here until people start chatting some more. No way. Reality is so much more appealing than digital cleanliness. All right. So yeah. So Casual Rages tonight. That goes on. I think it starts 7:15 my time. So Pacific Standard Time. I will share the retweet the link on Twitter here pretty soon, and he is setting that up. All right. So before we get into Cringe Factor, this is just a fun chat day today. I had some stuff to take care of last night and yesterday that I didn't have a chance to really sit down and do my homework and set up everything for Force Society. So we'll continue Force Society, lore next week. So I thought, I just got done reading Shadows of Mindor, and Truce at Bakura was my very first EU book I read. So let's talk about Return of the Jedi lore in that era. So 4 and 5 ABY, and get into that and see what you guys know, or if you guys have any questions pertaining to that. And one thing I liked about Truce at Bakura was the fact that it happened just hours, not just hours after the Battle of Endor. So we had the book, linking with the movies, making it a sequel, and thank you, sir, for I like getting serious talking, Laura, and you're like, question, how good would Rhino look in your bikini? I don't know. I don't want to know. But anyways, back to that. I liked how it happened just hours after Return of the Jedi Endor. And we have George Lucas in here. Hi, George Lucas. What's up? And it gave us, a look into how Luke was dealing with the Force lightning and how it still kind of crippled his body. His body was really recovering from it. And he had to lay himself down, rest, put himself in a Force trance, all of that. Let's see here. And we have, thank you so much, Big Raj, the super sticker. Always here supporting. Thank you, a channel member, 199 super sticker. Thank you so much for your continued support. And let's see here. That will be my next search. Truce at Bakura? Is that what you're talking about? Crimson Mist? And he's laughing. He's like, wow, I could just hear him right now. Wow. And back to lore. Yes, and back to lore. Yeah. No, really, why Matt? Oh my God. So you guys, if you don't know what's going on and why Matt's asking that, I have posted now twice progress pictures in my bikini because I am, like I said, I've been really getting into my health, really getting myself back into a fit state, leaning down, gaining some muscle. And then at the end of September, I will begin a 12-week challenge with the group that I am getting my fitness training from. And so the winner after 12-week challenge, 5 of them will be sent on a cruise and stuff. So I'm pretty excited about that. So you guys will see maybe some random progress pictures here on YouTube in my community page. It's just to keep myself accountable. And I do post on my IG account as well. I have an Instagram yoga business account, which I do post on there, my progress and everything like that as well. I haven't posted on my main social medias like Twitter or Facebook. I'm kind of avoiding that, but yeah. So that's what's going on. So I did post those pictures there, and Matt Wilkins says I kind of took down the internet when I did that, I guess. I don't know. And let's see here. So Raging Rhino says to Matt, or Matt says to Raging, I was just excited to see you in the chat. Dang. He's like, I wonder how he like. And so it's posted in my community page. Two of them are, yeah. And like I said, the traffic in the community pages usually here on YouTube don't get much traction. So I do stuff like that. Some people are like, I seen your picture, you know, blah, blah, blah. That's fine or whatever. But yeah, let's see here. Jackson says there was only ever one master and apprentice, but there were often assassins, enforcers, acolytes, and more than willing to move up if given the chance. Maul, Dooku, Doku's Dark Jedi, and Ventress, etc. Yeah, so there was that little bit of, yeah, they had their minions, I guess you could say, Inquisitors as well, because they were introduced. Filoni didn't introduce Inquisitors, they were introduced a while back. So very interesting to get into all of that, and maybe we will discuss the Sith lore in more in depth on a coffee chat coming soon. That would be fun, because then we can get into the Inquisitors, we can get into the Assassins, the Enforcer, the Hands, the Acolytes, what have you, and then talk about the evolution of the Sith. That would be so much fun. Let's get past the Force societies first, and then we'll get into that. Then we'll get into the Jedi. So we'll go Sith and Jedi, because Jedi are always talked about. Sith, I think, don't get as covered as much, and so they deserve that space. Let's see here. And Albunas, thank you so much for a $5 super chat. Another channel member, thank you. I'm broke, but had to show my EU elitist some love. I'm still working, so we'll be listening in and in when I'm running errands during lunch. I just voted. Thank you. Let's go ahead and check out what the standings are on the vote, and we'll get back to Truce at Bakura post Return of the Jedi lore. Okay, let's see here. Camino is now at 62%. Like I said, I was debating on if I even should use Camino because it's a movie planet. Bakura is 14%, Mon Calamari 21%, and Megiddo is still at 0. Wow. That was basically Darth Plagueis's home planet there. And you know, he's born he wasn't born on, you know, I guess you could say his species home planet or whatever. And there's a whole, like, if you haven't read Darth Plagueis, I highly recommend it. Amazing book, gives you a lot of lore. I don't like the Maul part of it. I think Lucino just added that in because of the direction that they took Darth Maul's lineage, I guess you could say, or planet, you know, where he's from. So, but check that out. And yes, smash that like button. So how many of you guys have read Truce at Bakura and is familiar with the story, and also Shadows of Mindor? So let me know in the chat if you have any questions pertaining to that. We are going to talk, like I said, you know, after right after Endor, leading up just before the X-Wing series, which the X-Wing series is very, very popular. It's one of the most popular series in the timeline. I like the X-Wing series. I like the New Jedi Order series. The New Jedi Order and Legacy of the Force are kind of tied with my favorites. So that one's a hard one. I always bounce back and forth between those two, which one I like first. But X-Wing series, I love it. It absolutely is a great series to read, especially if you want to get away from the Force society type things like Jedi, Sith, and all that, and get into the nitty and gritty of the post Return of the Jedi battles that are still happening with the remnants, the remnants of the Empire, liberating Coruscant, establishing the New Republic, and all of that. Let's see here. I don't know if this has been covered before, but what kind of coffee exists in Star Wars universe? You know, I didn't really look into that, other than that they have calf and that they do have hot chocolate, which are exotic. Well, hot chocolate's very, very exotic. I want to look into that. So stay tuned for next week on that. I will look more into that, see what I can come up, and then we will discuss that next coffee chat. Good question. Something I didn't really think about looking up. If anybody in the chat knows, Matt, if you're still there and you know, comment on that. If not, then that's something I'm gonna have to research, which I don't mind. I like to get into the lore and get into areas where I've never really thought of researching and get into to heighten my knowledge. So much fun. And then I drink, therefore I am says, hot take. I would enjoy a story of 4 or 5 Corellian kids who kype a lambda shuttle and get into all sorts of mischief. Think of kids on bikes genre meets Star Wars. You would think that that would be like the Solo kids and stuff, right? That would sound like fun. And let's see, Holocron says, hello, Laura. Hail to the chat. And hello to you. What's in your mug? This right here, insert eye roll here. One of my favorite mugs here. One of my favorite. And please vote on your favorite planet, Camino, Bakura, Mon Calamari, and Maigito. So let's continue on. I'll talk more. Let's go ahead and get into Truce at Bakura. And so if you guys have read that, let me know. If not, and you have questions about it relating to that, let me know. And Shadows of Mindor, let me know what you think of those books too. Because, you know, those books, like, I would say this again, this pissed people off on Twitter. I like the Thrawn trilogy. I really do. I respect it for helping Lucasfilm to decide to, like, really hone in on the continuity and stuff and the lore of Star Wars, and you know, making it all coherent to the saga. That's one thing that it tripped off, is like the company's like, yeah, our fans are liking this, let's go ahead and make everything tie into the movies, let's tie this crap up, let's make it coherent. That's what they want, and we respect their wishes. They did do that in the past. Companies did respect fans' wishes, because fans are the one that's paying, right? Fans are the ones that's paying them so that they can stay in business and give us what we want, right? So there was that exchange, that mutual exchange. And so after Thrawn trilogy, that tied up the continuity really, really well. They made it more coherent, the lore more coherent to the saga, and was noted everything was a part of the saga, which was the movies. Now, I respect the Thrawn trilogy for that, but I still think it's overrated. I do. And so, blasphemy, I guess you could say. I really love it. I respect it for what it is. I respect Zahn for helping open up the EU into a better continuity and stuff, and his brilliance with that. But I still think it's overrated. But my first book was Truce at Bakura, and then I went from there. And so I love how... and I probably just lost a lot of people. Now they're like, F you, Laura, you don't like, you know, you think Thrawn trilogy is overrated. No, but anyways, so Truce at Bakura with Luke Skywalker. And I thought that was very, very interesting that that he was still suffering and his body was still healing from Force lightning, from, you know, the impact from what the Emperor did to him with the Force lightning. And that made it so surreal. It made it so real to think about, okay, so it's still weakened, you know, his bones were calcifying, you know, and he had to rest. If he kept moving, it would you know, bring further damage. And he had to heal. So, you know, the people say, oh, the Luke in the EU was OP, blah, 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 blah. And they go on, and that's why they don't like the EU and Luke in the EU, because he's OP. But right in the bat, right after Endor, he is crippled. So, you know, and so I thought that really, like, just made me realize, wow, okay, so they're world building. They're letting us know that, you know, he's not this OP Force god, I guess you can say. And then right during that time, as he's healing, and they're you know, and they're telling him to go lay the F down, rest, a ship comes in with a message. So this is an old message ship, and I forget the name of it. So if anybody can tell me in the chat. and it has a message that was being sent to Palpatine. They didn't know Palpatine was destroyed. And the New Republic, or the soon-to-be formed New Republic Rebel Alliance, intercepted it. And Wedge went to go check it out, and he basically set off a destruction mechanism. And from there, Luke had to spring into action, even though he's still, basically hurt and crippled from the Force lightning, still had to go help out Wedge. Let me see here. It's called CAF. Yeah. And then I know Star Wars or Star Trek has something called Rakta Gino. I'm probably saying that wrong. A Klingon coffee. Yeah. I'm probably butchered that. I'm sorry. CAF is served in the galaxy of all the ships, correct? And that's why when you follow me on Twitter, I'll say, get your CAF ready. And that refers back to Star Wars. Shadows of the Empire was the first EU book I've read. Never read Truce at Bakura, but will be on the lookout. Awesome. And if you're just joining in, please go and vote your favorite planet. That's on the poll there. There's only 4. I can only use 4. I'm sorry. And then Jackson says, I found myself more interested in nectars and ciders mentioned. I guess it's because they have a more imaginative vibe than CAF or alcohol. Okay. Let's see here. And that's Robert DeCosta says, at OG Star Wars and in Bakura, Luke is still tempted by the dark side. It's so cool to see him start showing his wisdom to people who need him. Yeah, exactly. He's still like in Shadows of Mindor, he starts questioning being a Jedi, being a general, how people look at him, because Shadow Spawn, or we call it Black Hole, basically has set up these hollow dramas of Luke or has been following the holodramas of Luke and stuff, and he sees Luke as a body to use to take over the galaxy and rule. And so that's the gist of that he was part of Palpatine's minions, I guess, favorite word right now, I guess. But and so he basically takes people, cuts off the top of their heads, and then he grows these implants and grows these crystals in their body, and starts using them. Very different. It was, when I first read it was very weird at first. I like how Stover wins on the weird side, I guess you could say, because that's not like him when it comes to Star Wars. Like, his novels were very cut clean, I guess you can say. Didn't take those kind of chances of expanding the lore in these esoteric type ways, which Star Wars does. But just like Bakura, we have those sissy rooks that look like dinosaurs, and so I laughed when people are like, oh, on the whiteboard they have on there they want more dinosaurs, and I'm like, well, Star Wars in the EU, if you are privy to the lore, there were species that looked like dinosaurs, just like there's species that look like fish, the Mon Calamari. So that's nothing it's not new. Yeah. And so I really didn't make a big deal about that because of that. And then when they made Geo, that rock that has, it's like supposed to be sentient, has no way of getting around, doesn't have arms, legs, any of that. I did make fun of that one, because as a sentient being, there should be a way for them to move, communicate. If they're a navigator, they need appendices like arms, legs, or what have you, to do their duty, to do what they need to do to move around and stuff. And they did have like rock beings in the classical EU, but they had arms and legs and they were able to move. And so there was a huge difference there. So when you're countering remarks like that, do your research, because anti-EU people will come back at you and say, what about this? What about this? What about this? So really, really do your research so you can counter. And yeah, so there's a bit of wisdom right there for you guys. Let's see here. Thank you. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. I'm sorry. I will butcher it today. Rodimus says, I don't like the TCW retcons. They mess up the continuity in the EU. They do. I agree. I agree. And cheers to that. Cheers to that. It belongs in Disney Star Wars. It doesn't belong in the classical EU. Lady of Iron, how are you doing? It's a bit frustrating how Clone Wars messed up the Mandalorians. And one thing that doing research too is that they said what happened with the Mandalorians beforehand, and even with the Fets beforehand, still happened. The Mandalorians that you see, the pacifists, they're just one faction, which still, I guess you could say that. Still, it's like the real Mandalorians, if there was anybody that turned their backs, they were gone, so still gives you a lot of questions. Okay, so if they turn their backs and stop existing as the Mandalore culture and stuff like that, then why aren't the true Mandalorians going over there and killing them, so getting rid of them, so. And let's see here. Geo rolling on the floor laughing. Geode. I said not Geo, geode. Let's see here. If I said Geo, then I'm sorry, but I thought I said geode. How hardcore to stop a crystal? What do you mean? In space by jamming it with your hand? Yeah, so so it was pressured crystal. And yeah. So I take it that you haven't read Truce at Bakura with that. It's very, very interesting with that. So, oh no, I'm late. What are you talking about? Post Return of the Jedi, before X-Wing series. So that includes Truce at Bakura and Shadows of Mindor. And I was discussing how I liked how Stover did callbacks between Luke Skywalker and his father, Anakin Skywalker. In Shadows of Mindor, like how Luke landed the Justice, and then, and how it's similar to how Anakin landed Grievous's ship too in Revenge of the Sith. So that was very interesting. Let's see here. Death Watch are just a zealot cult in my mind. The Journeyman Protectors are the real deal. Yeah, I agree. You think they could have come up with a species similar to Rock Lords? You would think that they would be more creative and be like, okay, so how would this dude move? How would fans relate to him? And all of that. You would think that they would have done that. Instead, they're like just drawing, oh, this is cool, let's use him because it's Star Wars, anything goes. And that's not how it goes. There's world building, there's rules, there's and all of that. People still expect some coherency when it comes to sentient beings and how they respond to everyday life within the universe itself. And so when something comes in that is to question on any aspect of a species or the lore, whatever, we're going to question it because we were given continuity and world building that was amazing and that was believable for Star Wars. It wasn't just all willy-nilly BS stuff that many people will use and say and counter against us, saying, oh, well, Star Wars is just fantasy and they did whatever they want. No, they didn't. They didn't do whatever they want. I think the Heart of the Jedi is one of the examples of them not doing what they want, because that novel didn't make it into publication. There's a lot of novels, there's a lot of characters that we haven't seen if you haven't done research, and so you haven't seen it or whatever, but was not published whatsoever. And that's because there was guidelines, there was rules. George expected, certain things, and whatever George wanted, he got. He was the owner of the company of the time. Now the new owners is like, just give them whatever, diversity, whatever. But again, like I said in the beginning of the show, that's what all IPs are doing today, is just wanting to give diversity instead of giving the story. And when you start like wanting to give diversity in our reality so that someone can fully relate to a character, that does take away the story from the story. And I will say this again. I said it countless times. The reason why I got into the EU was because of Luke Skywalker. But not, you know, I related to him, but I'm not white and I'm not male. Wow, go figure. You know, I'm not so shallow of a person that I decide I can't relate to a character because they don't look like me. Because in reality, we're all going to relate to someone that doesn't look like us. Or we're all going to look up to someone that doesn't look like us, right? Because it's their qualities, their virtues, how they carry themselves, what they've done in their lives. And that doesn't have a skin color. That doesn't have a gender. So there you go. Again. All right. Let's see here. Crimson says, Rock Lords are toys made by Tonka as a spinoff from the GoBots, by the way. Yeah, I knew what you're talking about. It's been a while. Anakin Skywalker says, I would have liked Anakin's ghost to appear more in the post-Return of the Jedi EU. That would have been nice. I like that he appeared to Leia. So let's get into that because we were talking a bit about Luke, about how the Force lightning affected him, and we did get into how he but I'll finish that story and then we'll get into Leia. So Wedge went in there to intercept the messenger ship, and he basically set off a destruction mechanism where his hand gets caught between two crystals, and they're pushing into each other. You know, his hands in between it, but they're pushing towards each other, and once they make contact, it explodes. And so Luke's in dire need to help, or he needs to get over there to help rescue him from that. And we see Luke still, not feeling too well. And he uses the Force and his lightsaber to help remove the crystals and what have you. But he communicates through the Force, through the feelings of Wedge, which was very, very good. I thought that was very interesting as well, because we get a lot of that throughout the EU. And so eventually he saves Wedge from that, and they get the message, and people from Bakura is asking the Empire for help against the CC Rook. And so they debate on which way they should go with that. Should they go ahead and reply to it? Leia's like, we need to have more planets join us now. We're forming a new government. If we go, that shows that we are willing to help, and maybe they will come to the New Republic, blah, 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 blah. So she presents that case. And Luke's like, I'll go. And they're like, what? You need to rest. And so he did put himself in some healing trance for some odd hours and stuff like that. And he eventually went. And at that time, he still was a general, I believe. And so we have that whole adventure with that Bakura. Let me see what you guys are saying. What? You're not male? Laugh out loud. No. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not male. I'm not male. Or you guys would say prettiest man I ever saw. So if you guys know what movie that is, comment it in here and let me know. And then I Drink says, whenever you hear someone talking about the product is so diverse, you can immediately check the trash firebox because it's Force highlighted diversity, not organic. And that's the thing. George Lucas had diversity in Star Wars. Diversity in the universe itself and diversity in higher, so like actors and actresses and stuff like that. That was never a big problem, but they want you to think that George was racist. And I'm like, what? Yeah. So, but George did everything organically because his focus wasn't on diversity in our reality. It was on the story that he wanted to get across to us about black and white, good versus bad, all of that. And he used mythos. He used a lot of like themes and and all of that to develop. And he took examples of what happened in the world of his time, society of his time, and used them as tropes and stuff to build up, the empire and the new republic or the rebel alliance or what have you. So they really necessarily mirrored our reality, but he set it up to any generation who watches can relate to it. So when you put in political stuff or stuff from our world in there and into a world like such as Star Wars, it doesn't make it timeless anymore. It's not timeless anymore. So there's that. But we've spoken about that so many times. It's like beating a dead horse now. But because of this diversity, it feels like we're beating a dead horse. Let me see here. Okay, let me scroll up here. There we go. What? No mail. Okay, I read that. Let me see if did I read this one? This is whenever you have something. Oh, okay. Yeah, I read that one. The chat's going off. You guys are amazing. Please hit the like button. I have 19 beautiful souls here. Hit the like button. Become a channel member. If you haven't subscribed yet and you're in here popping on to see what I'm about, subscribe to the channel. It's about George Lucas' era of Star Wars. And we have fun chatting. And if you're just jumping in as well, vote for your favorite planet on the poll there. I can only provide 4. So please check that out. And we'll go ahead and I'll give you guys a standing on that while I'm talking about it. Come on, open up for me. Camino is at 67. Bakura is at 14%. Mon Calamari is at 19%. And Maigito is still at 0. Wow. No love for Maigito. No love for Darth Plagueis' home planet where he was born. Okay. Let's see here. There you go. And let's see here. Jackson says, my favorite superhero growing up was Static. Don't complain. He wasn't white. I cared about how he handled obstacles and problems and his sense of responsibility. And that's the thing. It's like when you relate to a character, it's more than just skin color and how they look. It's about their virtues, about their morals, all of that. And let's see here. And then we have Fire, laugh out loud. And well said. Let's see here. Hello, OG in chat. And hello, Marlena. How are you doing? How are you doing today? And what's in your mug? What's in your glass? What are you enjoying? What are you sipping on? This is mine right here. Insert eye roll here. Anakin says, in the EU, there are many authors who had different opinions about stuff, and not every author agreed with George. So you can have any opinion and still be part of the universe. And it was great. Yeah, they all had their ways of telling the story. They all had their writing styles. We know that Timothy Zahn really didn't care about Palpatine's clone coming back, but George allowed it. And so it's very interesting, like, what the boss wants goes. And if he didn't like a plot point, they're back to the drawing board, basically back to the writing board. Let me see. Yes, you guys, and check out my Redbubble. I keep forgetting that I have it. So get your mug. You can get some mug. So when you join me for coffee chat, you can get a traveler's mug, so you can put your favorite beverage in that as well. You can get a t-shirt, whatever floats your boat. It's greatly appreciated. I have some great prints up for grabs there. Check it out. And then Ira says, I read so much Jane Austen as if you can relate to living in English countryside over 200 years ago. I don't have to live in outer space to enjoy. Yes, I agree. And that goes with any IP. That even goes with I would say the Ring of Powers, but the Lord of the Rings. I'm like, okay, just spit it out, Laura. I do have some ancestry from Spain and from France. that goes into the colonization, and I said it, or the settlement of America. When the French still owned the Louisiana Purchase area, I had a French trader who married into my family. And so I have some French, just a little bit, but some French blood. And then on my mom's side, when in the Southwest, when like New Mexico and Arizona and those states were part of Mexico, I had a Spanish that married into the tribe there where she belongs, where her ancestry or where she's from. And so I do have a little bit of Spanish blood as well, on top of Native American, mostly Native American, a dash of Filipino, and then just a little tiny sprinkle of those two. But you don't have to be of those origins or those ethnicities or whatever to relate. Like, even if you pick up a Native American book or there's a Native American show and whatever, and you're watching the characters and there's a character that you relate to, that's amazing. You don't have to be of the ethnicity. If you get the jokes or corny jokes that Native Americans do all the time, like if you watch Reservation Dogs, there's a lot of res humor, I guess you could say, native humor that maybe some people may not get, or maybe think, oh my God, these guys are dumb. I don't know. But if you can relate to those off the wall jokes and stuff, and where those jokes come from, that's great. If you can't, then that's fine too. I'm not gonna, say, oh, you're racist. That's not how I am. I'm not that way. Let's see here. Let me scroll up. And then Fook Norris, hey, what's up? Good day, OG, Rhino, Soul, and friends. Having some Gold Peak tea. Cheers to you for joining us today. And we're talking, I keep on going back and forth, but basically we're talking about post Return of the Jedi lore leading up to the X-Wing series. So let's do this. DVS Lord, what's up? Greetings, OG Star Wars. Always good to catch a stream. Yes, it's always good to have you with us as well. And then Iris says, I am a big Tolkien freak as well. I have many nice books, etc. It's a great lore. He did a fabulous job, like opening up and doing those myths and stuff like that he did, just like George did with his company, and set rules for the writers to use and stuff like that. Amazing, brilliant men. And I see them the same. I see them, George and Tolkien, just the same. I don't see one above the other, because it takes a lot from to get from here and what you want onto paper or onto the big screen. And it takes a lot to organize other people to help you expand that lore and stuff. And so it's a bunch of brilliance there. I love it. And let's see here. West Gaming, hey, what's up? Long live the EU. Just finished post Return of the Jedi. We need Crucible 2 and Swords of the Jedi trilogy written by old EU authors, preferably. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I would say that would be good, but then right now I'm at the point of I don't trust. The trust factor isn't there for me. Yeah, so let's go into Leia post Return of the Jedi. And, it was brought up that, too bad Anakin Skywalker didn't appear as a Force ghost, and, throughout the series for Luke and stuff. But I do love, and this explains why he didn't show up after that. He appeared to Leia in Truce at Bakura. And, yeah. And was it Truce at Bakura, or was it it was Truce at Bakura. And he was there to atone to her, to warn her that if she keeps hating and all of that against who she is, her lineage, and him, that can send her, start sending her towards the dark side. And her interaction with him was expected. She's like, I can forgive you for everything that you've done, even to me, but not to Han. And so that was, she took herself out of the equation. She took herself out, and she was like, what you did to Han, I can't forgive you for. And you know, the Force has a weird trick of fate, basically. And you know, you may be my father by, you know, the chances of the Force or whatever, but my real father is Bail Organa, you know, and stuff. So that was very, very heartbreaking. And we got a really good, you know, look into how Leia was feeling when it came to her father and her lineage, and what she felt and what she was experiencing and what was going on in her mind, because that was still fresh news to her in Truce. You know, that was still fresh news to her in Truce at Bakura. And so that was still settling with her. And so I thought that was a really, really good little scene there by Kathy Tyers. And so let me see what you guys have to say about that. Hey guys, I'm late. Well, thank you so much for coming in anyways. Let's see here. Even George was good friends with Gene Roddenberry back in the day. Yeah. Let's see here. My favorite planet is Coruscant. My favorite moon is Narshada. My favorite asteroid is Kessel. Nice. I know I couldn't provide much options there. So yeah. I'm French as well. 500 years ago, they fled the Catholics trying to kill us. Awesome history there. Let's see here. Long live the EU. Oh, okay. I just read that one here. Yeah. And then I know I said we're just staying in a certain timeline of post Return of the Jedi, but the book that Leia really does make amends with her lineage is Tatooine Ghost. And I highly recommend that if you're really interested in finding out what she discovers, what's going on with her, all of that, like that whole journey of discovery for herself. And that whole journey of her deciding to actually having kids, because she was afraid. She was afraid of having kids because she didn't want her child to turn out like her father. Imagine that. You know, like, I don't want to birth any dark side people. But then again, you know, so she puts her fate into it. She says yes. She has her beautiful children. And, you know, we do see one go dark and one he turns into a Sith. Let's see here. Hey, what's up? Hello, Max. Max, relax. Total relax. Max, relax, eh? Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the poll real quick here. So I'm going to get ready to close it. So you coming in, you have about a minute. I'm going to read it. Then I'm going to close the poll. Favorite planets. Camino is at 60%. Bakura is at 19. Mon Calamari is at 21. And Maigito, which is at 0. There's no love for Maigito. So there you go. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll here. No love for Maigito. Yep. Darth Vader can be saved. Yeah, he was redeemed. You know, Luke was a catalyst to that, which set up Luke's character for being the kind that does have hope. And that's what Disney got so wrong about Luke. He does have hope. And that was a beautiful thing. You know, and even Leia said, my brother may have forgave you. I didn't. I don't, you know, it's like she was dealing with this information that really shook her, I guess you can say. And so people say these characters, like these anti-EU people say these characters in the EU are not relatable. They're not human enough. How much more human could Leia be in that scene? Confronting her father as a Force ghost. And then he was like, I come to you now because I may not be able to anymore. And so that shares that basically he wasn't able to manifest. And we learn later on in Thrawn Trilogy that Force ghosts do have to return to what I call the spirit world, the other world, pass on, however you recognize it, returning fully into the Force. because as a Force ghost, they travel, they can use their consciousness to travel between. And so they do have to make that journey. And Ben does say that to Luke in the Throne trilogy. He's like, I won't be able to manifest as much anymore. This is, I'm saying my goodbyes to you, peace kind of deal. And that, really shocked Luke as well. And I know I said I wasn't going to go past X-Wings, but just because we talked about Anakin's Force Ghost, I just wanted to add that a little bit of Force lore there into this, is that they just can't manifest anytime they want. And not all Force users can manifest or can be as strong to manifest. And, we see that with Qui-Gon. He didn't have his full journey or his full training or wasn't strong enough to manifest, but only through voice. And Disney's totally destroyed that. They totally went against that. And that's another topic for another time. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Let me scroll up. A redemption story for the Emperor. Make it so. If we could redeem everyone, why not Palpatine? No, thank you. No, thank you. He's not supposed to be. He's like total dark. Not everybody's redeemable. And that's even in the lore. If you follow, again, I'm going to refer it back to you guys. Darth Plagueis, the novel. Read it. It shows how evil Palpatine really is. He is such a manipulator that when you watch him on screen and you read about him in certain areas of the book and Darth Plagueis, he doesn't seem bad at all because he's a manipulator. That's what manipulators do. They fool you. They trick you. They make you think that they have the best interest for you. And that's what he did with Anakin. And look what happened. He orchestrated both sides of the war. And we're going to get into that, by the way, in this Cringe Factor here, the article I have for Cringe Factor. So stay tuned for that because it's about Dooku. And it's about how, and it's, it pertains back to Palpatine and all that. We'll get into that. Let's see. Batu says, it still brings me to tears to see Jason's fall, but at least he turned for good intentions, same as Anakin. Sometimes good intentions are laced in bad. So I probably didn't say that quote right, but you guys know what I mean. Yeah. So not all good intentions are paved, in that as well. So a very interesting story to talk and debate about. Maybe one day we'll sit and talk and debate about that part of Jason and what really happened, what he was thinking, and how it corrupted him, how it corrupted his grandfather. Because there's a kind of a parallel, not the same, but there's a parallel, and it would be a good discussion. It'd be a really good discussion. Let's see here. It'll be a very good discussion. And my friend Lethal Lightning would say, Jason did nothing wrong. And so if you guys want to see my Talking EU, that's what sprung my Talking EU series, is my conversation with Lethal Lightning. And I coined it Talking EU, and it turned into interviews with people about the EU, what got them into Star Wars, what got them into EU, their favorite characters. So go check out that video with Lethal Lightning. We do get in that discussion about Jason Solo. So I was very honored because he basically was like, I'm done with Star Wars. He sold all of his stuff and bid goodbye to Star Wars. So I was privileged and honored to have him on to talk Star Wars. So that was a fun conversation. So check that one out. Ira says, redemption is beautiful. I love redemption arcs almost as much as revenge. Combine the two for a perfect story for me. That's cool. Yeah. You have to have some kind of turmoil and some kind of like something to keep you on the edge of your seat. Caffeinated Wolf says, where's my Night Sisters harem? I guess settling for just a Baron isn't the worst thing ever. Oh my God. He's like, Night Sisters, where are you at? Okay. Kathy Tyers did a great job with all the OG characters. Not a huge fan of Raptor aliens, but besides that, I am a fan of the book. Yeah, So like I said, there were dinosaurs. I don't know why. I'll have to look into that for you guys. That's one thing. One of my new coming series that I'm going to be doing, hopefully beginning this fall or winter, will be. And I had a good title for it. Now it just like slipped my mind. I hate when that happens. When you have something good, forget to write it down, and it's gone. But it's reviewing Star Wars art. So a glimpse into Star Wars art, starting with reviewing the novel covers. And, you know, and if there's like any other covers that are from different countries, comparing the US to others, talking about the creators of those covers and stuff like that. So it's basically reviewing or looking a glimpse into Star Wars art and how that influenced Star Wars, to how we looked at it, how the movie, how you know, concept art, all of that, you know, really gave us a good glimpse and look into Star Wars, so that when we read the books, we can see things pertaining to Star Wars in the vision that George has been creating for them, or has created for them. So, and that totally slipped my mind on what the title was. I didn't write it down either. Damn it. I hate when that happens. All right. Crimson says, I question whether those anti-EU folks qualify as human or not. You mean bots? You think they're bots? It's very odd how they still carry on today. It's weird. And Anakin says, Luke was only one who showed Vader that Anakin was still in him, that his self-hatred didn't make sense, and that it wasn't late for doing the right thing. That's why we loved Luke. Correct. So he's like, I see the good in you, you know. And one thing that was sad, and I'm just going to say this now, is even though I'm trying to stay in a certain timeline, we're going to get into Cringe Factor here pretty soon, is he had to sit down and mourn the fact that his nephew wasn't redeemable. That was hard. That was hard to see, for him to realize that his nephew wasn't redeemable. And then in Dark Nest Trilogy, he had to sit down and face the fact, after he gave his father all of his forgiveness, he had to face the fact of what he's seen his father do to his mother. And just that scene alone is heartbreaking. So even if you don't care for that series, I still recommend it for those bits and scenes of them discovering through R2-D2 who their mother was, projecting and showing them the events in Revenge of the Sith. Man, that's some heavy stuff right there. You know, and again, people who say Luke wasn't depicted as human in the EU, those are the most human traits you can get into when it comes to like giving someone your forgiveness and then seeing that maybe it was wrong, or seeing more of the truth that really hurt you. You know, that is very polarizing. Let's see here. Max says Vader was saved, not forgiven. And let's see, not everyone can be redeemed, Palpatine among them. Correct. I agree. Let's see here. And then Jackson says, is Tatooine Ghost where Luke and Tion find Tahiri, or am I mixing something up? No, they don't. So Luke only has a little bit of information, a little bit of time in Tatooine Ghost, and that's only when Leia gets a hold of him over the HoloNet and talks to him about an event that's going on with the Wraith Squadron rescuing I forgot what species they were, and they were talking about the dynamics of that and how dire things were during that time. So no, it's not the same one. I think, I don't recall. It's skipping my mind on which when him and Tion found Tahiri. So it's skipping my mind. It's been a while. Some of these books I haven't revisited in a while, so that's now vague in my mind. Holocron says, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And let's see here. Mirren for the win. Let's see here. And bots, subhuman, anyone who have small, rigid mind. And then Jackson says, a galaxy full of sentient humanoids, rodents, weasels, wolves, lions, insectoids, avians, amphibians, reptoids, plants, non-organics, and non-terrestrials, and they draw the line at sorry, this Star Wars is, yeah, Star Wars is amazing because you see sentient beings in all shape, way, or forms. And what had opened that up was A New Hope. The Cantina scene was the biggest world building event when Star Wars was first being made. It expanded the world, basically the galaxy, and what to be expected, what is to be seen, and all of that. We've seen various aliens that come into this port here, and they're getting something to drink before they move on, and so on and so forth. And so that was amazing. All right, you guys. So we did get into a little bit post Return of the Jedi lore. Again, one more time, if you have any comments of that, let me know. We can even discuss it on my YouTube community page. I'll post a topic poll there as well. What was so neat about, and I don't have the book in front of me. I should have grabbed it. I don't have it here. It's by my, there's a place in my living room where I have my lamp and I have my books there and I sit and read. So it's over there. But there is something that Nick says to Luke. And what is very interesting about that is that Nick, knew Mace Windu. And that's what I wanted to get into. Is Nick Rotsu? Yeah, knew Mace. He worked with Mace. He kind of rescued Deepa from killing herself, basically committing suicide, I guess you can say. He became something major and was a part, did fight and lead in the war, in the Clone Wars and stuff. So that's how he knows the Jedis. That's how he fought. That's how he knows Mace Windu. He knows Anakin. And so when he was talking with Luke Skywalker in Shadows of Mindor, he basically says, Luke is still doubting himself. Luke has always doubted himself some way, shape, or form. No matter what part of the arc he is in his growth and his journey, there was something that he always questioned. And I really like that about him, because it's always good. Like, even if your gut instinct says, okay, do this, or even if you're not sure, it's always good to question and come into reason with yourself when it comes to that. So Nick says to Luke, basically, he's like, you're not the Jedi of the old Luke. You basically, and I'm going to misquote this. I wish I had the book in front of me. But, because you're not afraid of the dark, basically, he says. He said that also Luke made him respect the Jedi. Like, he lost respect of the Jedi at one point. He was like, after the purge, he goes, I was happy to say that I wasn't going to see any more Jedi. And then you came along and you made me respect. So these are a lot of paraphrasing when it comes to that novel. I did share those quotes on Twitter, and I could share them again. But it just goes into the fact that, Luke is still learning, and he's meeting people who are still alive from the Clone Wars, which Disney Star Wars has never successfully covered. In fact, Jedi are now myths during that time frame, which is very, very odd, because Luke can find all these lightsabers and stuff, right? So we get, Luke, discovering people who have fought alongside, or at least was debriefed by his father, Anakin. And Nick even said, Anakin was, basically the hero of the Clone Wars. So that was reinstated once again. And so I really, really loved that arc between him and Nick, Luke and Nick, in that story. And I did share Nick's story on my YouTube community page, so go check that out as well. And then Anakin says, unpopular opinion, after the New Jedi Order, I just like to jump into legacy comics and pretend everything in between didn't happen. I just pretend that the Skywalkers lived happily ever after the New Jedi Order. Well, I like what I like that there was still struggle and all of that between New Jedi Order and Legacy comics, because you still have to link to why did things happen the way they did in Legacy, what led up to that, so but that's awesome. Your headcanon, we all have our headcanon, right, when it comes to certain things. All right, so it's 12:21. I always like to stay within 2 hours of live stream. So let's get into Cringe Factor. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here, and we'll get into this window. There we go, and share. Let's see here. Here we go, you guys. So I don't know how cringy this would be for you guys or not, but there are some things like I want to point out and correct that this David Miller gets wrong in here. You guys might agree with this. This might not be too much of a cringe factor here because, like I said, news is very slow. I really didn't want to get into Disney Star Wars news too much unless it had something to do with the original lore, and that we can be like, let's correct this shit. So here we go. It says Count Dooku is the only Sith apprentice who deserved to replace Palpatine. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think that he was the only one that should have deserved to replace Palpatine? And why does this author, David Miller, state this? So we're going to get into that. Although Palpatine is the Star Wars saga's ultimate Sith mastermind, his apprentice Count Dooku is shown to be just as cunning and manipulative. So, while Emperor Palpatine is the Machiavellian force behind Star Wars, his apprentice Count Dooku is one of the few galactic manipulators who exist on the same level. Upon secretly becoming the Sith Lord Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku assumed the role of the founder of the political force of the Confederacy of Independent System, which I'm going to correct that right here and now. He did not find it. Palpatine did. Him and Palpatine, basically. So if you get into the lore of that, the separatists who are basically from the Sith, the Confederacy of Independent Systems, was government and separatist movement led by Darth Sidious and his apprentice Count Dooku, formed by various planetary and sectional governments, as well as some mega corporations. So, and that they declared they basically declared their intentions to leave the Galactic Republic. So he was allowed to oversee because Sidious was in hiding. No one knew about him, right? Sidious was in hiding. And so that's why it looked like Dooku was the one that basically found it. But basically, no. Everything was orchestrated by Sidious. So we'll go with that. Let me see what you guys have to say about that. If you guys said anything. Let's see here. Whoopsie, that jumps on me. I'm not sure Dooku was as sadistic as Palpatine. No, he wasn't. He was more formal. He was like more down to like the rules and stuff and all that. Let's see here. We would need Calamari. Let me see. I don't know what that was about. Let me scroll up. All right. Don't get me wrong. I would treat the Emperor like Magneto in the X-Men's prison. Let's see here. I can't say this enough. If you want to retell great Star Wars stories, grab some friends, grab a rule book, some dice, and have fun with your friends in the galaxy. Yeah, RPG, because you have the rules there, and you'll play according to how it was orchestrated and designed. I agree. Let's see here. I suggest starting with Wizards of the Coast Star Wars RPG. Most of the books can be found on the internet for free. Yeah. I do have some RPGs in my collection as well. Let's see here. I'm not sure Dooku was a... Yeah, I read that one already. Okay, lunch break. is over. I've got to get back to work. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and you have a great day. As always, may the force be with you. I'm only 83 minutes late. Whoopsie. Yeah, I'm glad you are here with us. That's okay. We are getting into this cringe factor here. Excuse me. It says Count Dooku assumed the role of the founder and political force of the Confederacy. So he assumed. So basically what's that saying is that no, not really. Sidious was it. He was just the one that was the face of it. Dooku created the Sith as a perfect enemy for the Galactic Republic to fight in the Clone Wars. Again, it was all Sidious. He just assumed the role as the face. And his closest allies within the fraudulent faction were all manipulated into serving the Sith, whether they knew it or not. Okay, that begs the question, because when you watch Revenge of the Sith, they knew who Sidious was. When you watched, I think even Attack of the Clone, they knew who Sidious was, or at least they knew who Dooku was. So, or they knew who the Emperor, they know who they were. So that's something to question right there as well when it comes to this person's knowledge and right in this article. So let's move on. Count Dooku was once a Jedi Master whose gradual disillusionment with the Jedi Order and Galactic Republic corruption was exacerbated by disasters like the Battle of Galadriel and invasion of Naboo, which resulted in the respective deaths of numerous Mandalorian warriors and his Padawan Qui-Gon Jinn. Following his departure from Jedi Order, Dooku came into contact with Palpatine, and while he did fall to the dark side of the Force on his journey to Sith Lordship, there was a degree of genuine hope to make the galaxy a better place with Dooku. He wanted to rule himself. He did. If you haven't really gotten to the story, it was all about him wanting to have control. Excuse me. Nevertheless, I think I'm getting the hiccups. The Star Wars Legends continuity shows how Dooku ruthlessly manipulated numerous beings and throughout the galaxy with, and they said legends, and I didn't correct that, but you know what I meant, with many of the deadliest Sith members being personal and cunningly recruited by the Sith Lord. Let me see what you guys have to say here. If Vader survived, he would have been in prison for the rest of his life. The same goes for Palpatine. That's questionable, I guess you could say. Anakin maybe, but Palpatine, he sold his soul for power and immortality long ago. Let's see here. Jarek and Chrono were rather sadistic. Yeah. Jarek and Dark Forces, oh my god. He literally told Kyle Katarn the only thing that he regret about Morgan Katarn, his father being killed, the only thing that Jarek said that he regretted is not seeing their blood. Like, damn. Oh my god. Let's see here. A perfect example of Dooku's sinister machinations is in issue 72 of Star Wars Republic by John Ostrander and Jan Duursema, which, hands down, their comics, their illustration, the best, in which Dooku defeated and corrupt the Jedi Master and the story, Sora Bulk. Bulk fellow Jedi Master Thom intercepted Dooku. So if you guys haven't read that, I highly recommend that Republic comic there. I think we did cover this on Coffee Chat a while back, like a year ago maybe. Thom intercepted Dooku and Bakura in the immediate aftermath of Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, but Dooku dispatches them with ease. So this gets into how ruthless Dooku was here, and so I recommend those stories. And here is like a little clip here of that. Thom and all of them. bulk right there. General Grievous' predecessor, Severance Tan, seemingly cared little for the politics of the Sith and only wished to hone her dark side abilities under Dooku's tutelage. So this goes into like how Dooku recruited like Grievous right there. I think we talked about him last week. He was recreated. He was deceived by Dooku to thinking that the Jedi hit him and nearly destroyed him. He was also deceived by Dooku to think, or the Jedi was also deceived by Dooku to come in and help fight against the, against the conflict going on there. So I would say Grievous, in a way, was also manipulated and used by Dooku as a killer. And he trained him to know how to kill Jedi. So that's a very interesting story right there. So he was one of the pawns, I guess you can say. Grievous was one of the pawns. So basically it says right here, Dooku exaggerated this by staging a shuttle bombing and framing the Jedi as its perpetrators, resulting in Grievous's cybernetic reconstruction and commanding position within the Sith. For Jango Fett, the template of the Republic clone army and Dooku bodyguard on Geonosis, no deception was required, as Fett already desired revenge against the Jedi for killing his brethren on Galadriel, and he knew that his clone troopers were secretly destroyed, destined to assassinate the Jedi. Similarly, Asajj ventures to join the Sith, both as means to aspire the Sith ladyship and out of hatred for Jedi for seemingly abandoning her mentor, Nark. Yeah, so there you go. So we have a lot of that story here. Again, all Republic comics and stuff and story during that time frame. So does Dooku deserve to be the only one to be the predecessor or replace Palpatine? What do you guys think? Each with all this evidence that David Miller shows here, do you think that he deserves? Do you think that he's as powerful, as manipulative as Sidious? Each of these major figures was in some way played by Dooku, who truly embraced Palpatine's tactics of plans within plans and an army of underlings who only knew aspects of his larger vision, which Darth Maul was Palpatine's weapon, and Darth Vader was distracted by his former life. Count Dooku embodies the actual spirit of the rule of two, developing his skills and power to one day overthrow and replace Palpatine. Without Count Dooku's considerable skill at manipulation, Palpatine's fascist coup would have been almost impossible. Palpatine may have won at the end of Star Wars prequel era, but Count Dooku deserves much credit and is the Sith apprentice who truly learned Darth Sidious's greatest lessons. So what do you guys think? Like I said, this may not be true, full cringe factor, but I thought I'd bring this to light to you guys to see what your opinion was on this person's take. Let's see here. Let's see here. Walks over to the vendor. How much for this one? Okay. So you guys are still talking about that. The evil Dooku, though, and then do not be too eager to deal out death in judgment. Even the very wise cannot see all ends. I miss Gandalf. I mean Tolkien. Let's see here. Yeah. So there you go, you guys. So there's that. So what do you guys think? Do you think that Dooku was as cunning, manipulative all of that as Palpatine, do you think that he deserves to be in replace of of Palpatine? Damn it, scroll up, will you please? Let's see here. It needs to scroll up for me. It's like froze. There we go. We got it. Do you think that he deserved? I don't think he does, because he was so easy manipulated by Palpatine himself. He didn't know that he was a pawn as well, that the true Sith or the true apprentice that Palpatine was working towards since he met him was Anakin. That's where I stand with that. I think that, Dooku was basically just another pawn to get to Anakin. And yeah, Anakin / Vader had that turmoil because of what he was promised by Sidious or Palpatine, the Emperor. And like, join me and I'll teach you how to save your wife, your family, blah, blah, blah. And that didn't happen the way that he wanted to. But then after all events, he's like, I committed myself. I'm full dark side. Screw everything. I'm going to rule over the galaxy eventually. And then and then his mission was to destroy all the Jedi. So the remaining Jedi, him and the purge, during the purge, their inquisitors, what have you, went out to destroy the Jedi, and so that they can reign without any disturbance from the Jedi, basically. And so I don't think that Palpatine or Dooku deserved to replace Palpatine. Really, I don't. Let's see here. Dooku lost his edge and allowed himself to be manipulated and positioned as a temporary tool just to push Anakin closer to the dark side. And the thing is like you see in Forces Unleashed, Vader's true intention. He was training an apprentice. Dooku wasn't training any apprentice. He was just training minions to help serve him during that time for the war to destroy the Jedi. There's a huge difference with that. So in the Rule of Two, the apprentice will secretly find another one to follow. So when he's ready to defeat his master, then the Rule of Two is established again. And so we've seen that with the Vader, with the Star Killer, or Galen Merrick. Merrick. Excuse me. So there we have that. Dooku lost his, so I read that already. Yeah, Dooku was another tool, correct. Remember, Gandalf wanted to forgive Saruman and he rejected it, and Gandalf either locked him away to rot, knocked him off his tower. Yeah, so there we have it. So I thought I'd get, like I said, news with Star Wars other than like with, what's her name, who's playing... playing Mon Mothma. I thought about talking about that. So we'll just briefly touch on it before we start closing down here, ending the show. But what was her name? Genevieve or something like that? I forget her name. But the one who is playing Mon Mothma in Andor, basically she's like, talking about strong female leads and roles. And I laugh at that because that's just the key word nowadays, right? To justify a female character taking over the lead in a male-centric show. We've seen that with Obi-Wan Kenobi series, where Obi-Wan was the main character, and all of a sudden Reva, the female character, and they played light to her. And now we have Mon Mothma, which Andor is supposed to be about Andor, right? And all of a sudden, strong female lead. So we go to that, which fans never had problems going back into the 80s about strong female leads. Excuse me. yeah, so so we have that. But one of the main things that I heard, and then I go into more about the lore and stuff like that, is that she said because Andor is like 5 years before Rogue One, so before A New Hope. Just 5 years before it. And what she states is that Palpatine or the Empire, Palpatine has not fully become a dictator. So what has he been doing the last, 14 years? During that time? Come on, turn back on. Turn back on. It doesn't. There we go. So what was he doing during that 14 years? He wasn't fully in control, she said. 5 years before A New Hope, Palpatine wasn't fully in control. Now, either she doesn't know what she's talking about or she's spoiling stuff. What do you guys think about that? We knew from Revenge of the Sith, he gained full control, that he became the dictator. This is where liberty dies, with thunderous applause. And him declaring that the Jedi were scheming against them, tried to kill him, tried to take over the Senate, the government, the galaxy. He staged all of that. And then I have to be told in Disney Star Wars, which is laughable, really. You guys got to just laugh at this shit. But it is laughable that 5 years before A New Hope, Palpatine is not fully in control. Not fully in control. Yet we seen him in full control in Revenge of the Sith. He had control of the Senate. They voted for him to have temporary power, which he took over. And then they went ahead and went along with his antics, his tactics, all of that. Believed that the Jedi were scheming against them. If that's not full control, I don't know what is. So you guys who are going to review Andor, keep an eye out for that. That's a key point. Either she doesn't know what she's talking about or she spoiled something. Which is a horrible take if that's the way the direction Disney's taken the Star Wars lore, showing that Palpatine didn't have full control. Who the hell had control of the Senate then? Who the hell had control of the galaxy? Who's implementing all this fear and all this rule and governments over all the sectors? Because it definitely wasn't Mon Mothma and all of them who were governing over their own planets and their own sectors, because he had control over them. So keep an eye out for that. So I'm going to see what you guys have to say about this. Palpatine was a master manipulator. He was in control of events long before granting himself emergency absolute power over the Senate. Correct. So when I heard that keyword, because everybody's like, oh, she's talking about, female leads and how important that is. Right now I can care less, because that's just always been their tactic. I'm listening for keywords onto where they're going with the lore and stuff like that. And that's what I found in that interview. Not that I'm saying like their way of diversity is good, because it's not, because it takes away from the story. But listen to what they're doing. They're dismantling everything George did and established. And I'm laughing at it too, because it's ridiculous. It's sad that they're going this way. That they're taking this character, Palpatine, who was this master manipulator, like Caffeinated Wolf says, master manipulator, who orchestrated everything. Even before he killed his master, Darth Plagueis, he was scheming behind his back, because that's what happens in the Rule of Two. He was scheming behind his back to take over. He's like, I'm not going to have my master breathing over me, being my master's minion as the face. I'm going to be the face and I'm going to rule. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it in its entirety. I'm going to take control. I'm going to rule the galaxy. And anybody who gets in my way, you're gone. And that's including the Jedi. Because, according to the lore, the true lore, the Sith basically atoned for 1,000 years. During that time of staying in the shadows, they studied the Jedi. They studied the Jedi so that by time one revenge could happen, and that was through Palpatine, they knew exactly how to defeat him. And they did it. He did it. They learned by sitting back and watching. That's clever. So, a lot of people are Sith. Okay, so let me back up. I like the Sith. I like the Jedi. They both have their downfalls and their brilliance, right? So in the chat, let me know, if you like the Sith or not, what you like about them. If you prefer them over the Jedi, that's fine. But the point here I'm making is by walking back Palpatine's brilliance, that George created him, that George even worked with the authors to create him in such brilliance. This means the dark times, the Empire is bad. They're no longer a threat. Palpatine no longer was in control like we thought he was. They dumbed down the Empire. They dumbed down Palpatine. So everything you see that was orchestrated by Palpatine in the movies, no, he wasn't in control. It was all a lie. Yeah. Let me see what you guys have to say. The Senate has some power left and was abolished in A New Hope, but Palpatine differently manipulated the Senate. They had power, they had say, but it wasn't true power. It wasn't true power. So they couldn't go and, they had to toe the line with what Palpatine wanted. He even sent in his own people to those sectors, to those planets, to rule besides or govern beside the established senators from those systems, the sectors of systems. So it was very neat and unique how Palpatine orchestrated everything. They didn't have full control. Like, it wasn't the full control, or they didn't have control like they used to. Chaos says, talk about the Acolyte show and how it ruined Sith lore. We'll get into that some other time. I'm not too privy into all of that. That's something I have to research. So I want to be prepared with my knowledge, skills, and ammo. Well, come on, that's just a common politician. And then I was just telling my hubby yesterday that if you have to run things, people will just want the complete rule. Regents don't give power back easy. Nope, they don't. So the Senate power was basically an illusion. And when you, the deleted scenes for Revenge of the Sith, and I believe in the novel, Mon Mothma and Bail Organa are talking. And Bail says, if you see me towing the line and agreeing and going along, I have to do that because of some circumstances. He goes, but I will be joining you, I'll be like doing things on the down low, basically. So, and he doesn't tell that to Mon Mothma. He tells that to Yoda and them, but he does tell Mon Mothma too, like, I'm still with you, even though it looks like I'm behaving in such ways. And then Moth was like agreeing, yeah, we have to make it look like we're agreeing that we're with them while we secretly start orchestrating stuff on the down low. And so I'm all paraphrasing here, but they had to do stuff in discreet because Palpatine had full control. Their power was more of an illusion. So, and Abuna says, shake my head, business as usual with Disney fake Lucasfilm when it comes to the lore and history that was established. Glad I declared Star Wars was dead long time ago. I made my peace. Laugh out loud. Star Wars isn't dead per se, but we still have all the classical, real, true Star Wars. It's done now. It's done developing, if you want to see it in that way. And Star Wars now is just in name only. It's just name only. And Matthew says, I don't know about that. And agreed. Let's see here. The Senate had a voice, but it was to be entirely overruled by whatever the Emperor dictated. Correct. So they can say something. And mind you, they had to be careful because Palpatine had the list of the 2,000. He knew who would counter him. So they had to be very careful. Over the time, you've seen senators assassinated as well. Like Dark Lord, Rise of Darth Vader. Feng Zong, or whatever his name is, was one of them. So basically they didn't have the power that they thought they had. They had to basically walk on eggshells and try to be there for their systems and their planets the best way they can. Their vote didn't count for shit. Correct. They didn't count for shit. And let's see here. Oh, I totally agree with OG. I live for the Lucas era regarding Star Wars. I'm glad I have that. So there's a tidbit on that. I wasn't going to touch bases into her interview because, she's like, female lead, blah, 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 blah. Fine. We always had a female lead in movies. That was nothing that was not familiar to us. The direction that you take this diversity when it comes to that is compromising story. That's the problem we have. There's a difference. There's a distinct difference between that. But going on with that interview, like I said, those key words, 5 years before New Hope, and Palpatine wasn't quite a dictator yet. So you guys, when you listen to these interviews that are coming up before the show begins, listen for keywords and aspects. That will give you an idea what to look for. Like I said, she could be mistaken, or she could have revealed something. And so we talked about it here. Keep an eye out for that. If you're going to follow the production, the series, what have you. Again, Rogue One. I would recommend Dark Forces, Kyle Katarn, Jan Ors. Yeah. That story is the true Rogue One, if you want to say that. And Rogue One is basically just a title of a call sign. And we all know how that turned into Rogue One for the story there. And when it comes to Rogue Squadron, they even took the thing away from like Wedge and Luke creating it together, I believe. And I think I touched bases on that. Yeah, so let's see here. It says that there are hundreds of novels, comics, and video games with stories ranging from good to perfection that will keep Star Wars alive in the dark times. The times of Disney Empire. I agree. I totally agree there. Let's see here. I never understood Dooku's fall. We first see him concerned with the corruption within the Republic and the prophecies of the Force. How I seen that part is that he wanted things his way. And he left the order. And through his confusion or whatever was going on in his mind, that was the opportunity for Palpatine to manipulate him. Yeah, that's how I see that. Keeping my mouth shut right now. Yeah. I'm hoping one day you will come to realization that the true real story is dark forces. Let's see here. Next, he's orchestrating the Clone Wars and leading those most corrupt organizations in acts of terrorism. That's because he was manipulated. During his time of leaving, Palpatine took the chance to manipulate him and turn him to the dark side. So he was conflicted in his mind. And that's where Palpatine stepped in. True evil right there. True evil. Yeah. No, not Wedge. And then let's see here. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to start closing out here. I guess we ended with a hot topic, which again, when you listen to these interviews, listen for those keywords on the direction they're going, especially when it hurts the movies, because we can counter respond with them regarding the EU, using the EU as proof and evidence. And yes, the EU was canon. It was a part of the saga. And Disney decided to toss it for a clean slate, which means even though they didn't say it was canon in their statement, tossing it so they have a clean slate does reinstate that it was canon, because if it wasn't canon, they didn't need to toss it. They didn't need to say we need a clean slate, because a slate would have been clean, because that would have been non-canon, right? So there's that with that. So keep an eye out. Bring in your evidence. Like I said before, if there's characters or what have you that you don't agree with, make sure that you cross-reference between past lore so that you don't have these anti-EU, anti-George Lucas people coming towards you saying, well, they did it in the EU, so make sure you be diligent and smart about your arguments. And that goes with any other IP. Be diligent and smart about your arguments and your counter. Go about it in a smart way. So there's a little bit of wisdom here from OG Star Wars here. You guys have a great day, and may the force be with you. And I will see you probably Monday. And myself and EU Commander will be talking EU, and I will present that information to you. I don't have the time in front of me. That would be presented here on my YouTube community and my Twitter YouTube community on the time frame on when it's starting. So stay tuned. Talking EU is back, and I'm so glad, because I love interviewing everybody about EU, Star Wars, all of that, because it's always fun to hear from other people about how they got into Star Wars and what they like about the EU and their favorite characters, and just nerding out with someone and getting their perspective about Star Wars. Beautiful, beautiful thing. So stay tuned for that. And then again, Coffee Chat Thursdays, 9 a.m. unless otherwise stated. I'm always here for you guys to nerd out about Star Wars, talk about some Cringe Factor, and go over the lore, grab your cup of caf, and I'll meet you again next Thursday. Talk to you later. May the force be with you all.
I had fought the worst of all wars and witnessed the redemption of evil. I have seen balance restored to the force. But order can turn to chaos, as it did when I was born. Now, with my loved ones and my loyal allies, I face a new challenge unlike any before. And I'm not sure at this time we can win.
Star Wars Vector Prime by R.A. Salvatore, the first novel of the new Jedi Order.
Another happy landing.